Hey guys, what's Gump here? And today I'm going to be talking about the Fallout TV show. Last week it was released on Amazon Prime and other networks, all 8 seasons or all 8 episodes in one season. And suffice to say, this is a really good video game adaptation. I don't often make videos about video game adaptations and my thoughts on them. I typically think that they are like either like a hit or miss, especially with Halo TV shows. I made a video about that earlier this year and how season 2 was kind of better than season 1, but it's still like missing that benchmark. But anyway, the Fallout TV show. So, to give you a little context on my perspective, I grew up playing the Fallout games. I started playing them like around 2013, so like a decade ago. My first game was Fallout 3, and then I played New Vegas, and then 4, and then I try to go back and play the old ones, but the isometric gameplay was a little bit tough for me. But I watched a lot of videos like discovering the original Fallout trilogy on the PC and everything. So my knowledge and expertise on the matter is kind of adequate as I'm pretty familiar with it. And as far as the lore goes, continuity wise, I'm actually glad that the TV show they made is not really an adaptation of one of the games, but rather it's within the storyline or the universe itself. So they can do an original story, but not have to like fiddle or mess with like any of what was preconceived in any of the games, which by the way I'll get to later. First thoughts, I really enjoy it. I like the add-on from the music that everybody's listened to from the games, like 3 and 4, especially the 1950s, 40s, 30s music. That's always a really good jam to re-listen to and always fond of because if you play like a lot of hours in a Fallout, then you definitely recognize some of these songs, and then your grandparents will wondering like, where'd you hear these songs? And my response would be typically Fallout. But anyway, um, as far as the plot wise goes, I'm going to get like into a lot of spoilers here because I can't really delve into the TV show without having to discuss major events or characters. So if you haven't seen the show, I recommend you pause the video, then come back here after you watch it because I'm going to be talking to like everything about it. And I realized that this show has a lot of good potential and a lot of credibility because the guy who directed it did Westworld, and from what I heard, Westworld was kind of an okay show, but the guy who directed it was really familiar with the series, and that's good because if anyone who's directing a IP adaptation of something that's really beloved in the community online, then it most certainly has to have good faith and trust that that person knows what they're doing. And I really wish Paramount writers would understand that when they did the Halo TV show, and as well as like any other video game adaptations out there. So anyway, my thoughts on the characters. I think Lucy is pretty relatable. She's likable. She's funny. She's got like that sense of naivety there, being a vault dweller, and it's kind of like a whole like realistic character arc from someone who's lived in the vault for like most of their life and going outside the first time and like experiencing the grime and darkness of what the wasteland has to offer. I absolutely love Groggins as the ghoul because every scene he's in, he like steals it with his charisma. Like it's just absolutely phenomenal. Like the guy clearly was made for that role. He's like a really good like Western gunslinger cowboy anti-hero, and he like knows when to take stuff when he needs to, like in a some sort of sense that way. It's just absolutely wonderful. And then for Maximus, I think he's pretty passable for a character. He's not too brash. He's not too weak or anything. Like how every single Fallout game that has the Brotherhood in it, like portrays them as like these like absolute like a-holes who like think they can rule everything around and that they have to like take everything from everybody that has to mention like pre-war tech because that's their whole ideology is they want to preserve and save those pre-war takes for themselves only, not for it like anyone, because they deem anyone who is not a Brotherhood a threat, and that's just like it's kind of like a stale like faction type of thingy. But for in this case for the show, I'm just gonna say like he passes as a likable character. I absolutely like his journey and what he goes along with, and everything else aesthetic wise they really nailed it on the head. Like they really got that Fallout feel. I love the way they got the vaults designed, the weapons, the armors, the outfits, like even just like the way the cinematography is, like especially panning out like over like a desolate wasteland, and like how everything's broken down and it's very believable. Like that's something you would see in Fallout, and not just like any typical survival like post-apocalyptic show. Like this is Fallout we're talking about. And what makes Fallout is the vault suit, the bright blue and yellow like outline. Like that's what really is. So compared to like other post-apocalyptic shows or movies out there, this one is very bright. It is very comedic. It's very serious, and they did a very good job of balancing the two, as to not to make it like over serious or over comedic for the sake of being those aspects. And that's something I really commend them about. Um, Lore wise, suffice to say, being a Fallout fan comes with that nitpickiness that is a whole thing you have to personally push aside as a judgment, as I am with a Halo fan, because anyone who's played video games and grew up has to like comprehend like 10 years of massive lore and to accept the fact that it's there. And so this is getting into spoilers territory, by the way. And so the thing I realize about the lore is I don't think they really ruined the lore. It's just more they changed it for the convenience sake of it. And a good demonstration of that I've seen everyone talk about is Shady Sands. Shady Sands was nuked in 2277, which is literally the year Fallout 3 takes place, and 4 years before Fallout New Vegas. But the thing is, in New Vegas, nobody's ever mentioned that Shady Sands was nuked. And it was not brought up until this show came out that it practically retconned the establishment of Shady Sands, and that's something kind of like mildly concerning and at least alarming, at least to some people, because I know there's going to be Fallout YouTubers out there who are going to lose their mind over this. They're going to make 2 hour videos dissecting like the very first episode, and they're just going to like nitpick every single second, like minute detail, because they think that Bethesda hates Fallout New Vegas. And that's not actually true. From what I've saw in a video, I think this was some ordinary gamers video on Fallout TV show. Um, Todd Howard said in an interview that he absolutely loves New Vegas. That if he were to like greenlight for like a second one, he would absolutely most do, because there's this whole myth or speculation around the Fallout community that anything that Bethesda makes is mediocre or trash, and anything Obsidian makes is gold and praiseworthiness. And to be fair, Bethesda did help produce the TV show. In fact, it's the reason why Todd Howard allowed the TV show to be greenlighted, because he met with Jonathan Nolan, and they both like exchange like a sort of transaction on like how is this gonna work out, like how are we gonna adapt one of the biggest like video game adaptations onto the big screen. And so to help clear confusion, yes, there is definitely a sense of resentment in the air with Fallout fans of Bethesda being in charge of like NCR lore and anything that's like Western Coast, because keep in mind the show takes place in LA. It's not taking place in Boston or Washington D.C. or West Virginia. It's set entirely within LA, but it's spinning its own original thread. It's nothing like, oh, we're gonna completely redo Fallout 1 and 2, and this is how we're gonna do it. And so that's a good thing because it means that there could be some preservation and good integrity of the show, but otherwise, yeah, that's just how it is. Other than that, I really think that lengthwise for each episode, it's at a good pace, but there's like this feeling that wherever a group of characters goes, like it always they conveniently like bump into each other. And I joke around, I say that they use fast travel and anything, but that could be its own interpretation because that's just how TV show works. Like whenever somebody's going from one place to another and they like weirdly conveniently bump into said event or whatever they're looking for when like in reality it should take more like than like a day. um what else is there to discuss? The way the NCR is represented, they're definitely gonna put it in season 2 because at the end of the finale of the first season, you see like a big overhead of the New Vegas strip, and you can see that it's kind of torn down, it's kind of shattered, and there's like some speculation that something bad's happened, but we won't know until season 2 comes out, and so I'm having some kind of high hopes for that. But yeah, I really think that despite like the resentment in the air, that it's something you can definitely turn off your brain and just watch for entertainment, and it really does accomplish that. It's a entertaining show. It doesn't get boring, it doesn't get stale. It's something definitely worth watching for. And if I had to rate it on a scale, I'd probably give it a generous 8 out of 10 because I think that this video game adaptation, like despite like the fear and dread that everybody has on the line, I think it's really good and it's something to be proud of. And yeah, I think it's really something to look forward to. And anybody who loves Fallout will definitely get into it because you don't have to be a fan to know about Fallout. Like it really does that for you. It introduces you to the characters. It tells you about the wasteland, like what the reality is, like the golden rule for out there, just doing best as you can. And it doesn't really like shove in your face a lot of from the Brotherhood of Steel because even though they are in the show, they only get like a few minutes of screen time because it's mostly focused on like three of our characters. Like I said, it's trying to balance the spotlight for Lucy, the Ghoul, and Maximus, and that's a really like hard task to accomplish, if I dare say. But I'm not a filmographer or a filmmaker or anything like that. I'm just like giving my articulate thoughts because I know there's some people who are out there like who was hardcore as a fan as they were ever since they played the original Fallout compared to like mainstream people like such as myself who got into 3, 4, New Vegas, and maybe a little bit of 76. But yeah, I definitely say it's a good worthy. It's a good watch to put on your list on your black backlog, and yeah, it's really good. I mean, what else is there to talk about unless I'm missing a few points, which I'm going to discuss this with my other friends. But yeah, that's about it. This is the Fallout TV show, and I'll be sure to put on more videos just discussing my thoughts like on other subjects or whatever that I'm fully close with. And yeah, make sure to give the video a like, subscribe, comment, share with others, and follow me on Twitch on Woodscum. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.